Hey everyone, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you so much for joining us. We are back for another episode of NIhal interviews so-and-so. So last week we had a chance to interview Dr. Shireen Al-Adaimi. And then afterwards, what we're going to be going ahead and doing is interviewing a new guest. And today we have Brother Khairul Alam. And I'm going to tell you all about Brother Khairul Alam in a second, but what we have been doing the last couple of days or the last couple of weeks is specifically making it a point to have conversations about different groups of people that are unfortunately struggling throughout the world at an international level. So what we are hoping today is, with this specific video series that we have started, is highlight certain groups of people that have basically been under persecution. And today we wanted to talk about the Rohingya, and I wanted to give you all just a background of who exactly the Rohingya are, what's been happening with them, because many of us are not aware of who they are. The Rohingya come from Burma, which was a part of British India up until 1948. And from 1962, they were a democratic country until the military staged a coup and brought about full military rule. And this has been the standing 2011. They've been one of the world's most impoverished countries since the military took control. And though they're not any longer imposed as, though military rule is no longer imposed on the country as it has moved forward to become a democracy, the country is still suffering from severe poverty, oppression, suppression of media, persecution of certain ethnic groups within the country, specifically talking about the Rohingya being one of those ethnic groups. And it refers to the indigenous Muslim population of modern-day Myanmar that is currently victim to an ethnic cleansing campaign by its own government. And the majority of them are based in the western state of Rakhine, a state with a staggering 78% poverty rate. And the Rohingya means those of Rohang. Rohang is the early Muslim name of Arakan, which is now known as the Rakhine State. Now, what's even more interesting is that Yale Law School, in conjunction with Al Jazeera, released a report detailing that there is, in fact, evidence providing that Myanmar's government is indeed engaging in a genocide against the Rohingya Muslim population. And they note this in 5 different areas. Number 1, the denial of citizenship. It is very tough for somebody of the Rohingya to get citizenship in Myanmar. Number 2, forced displacement. Since 1978, over 200,000 Rohingya have fled to Bangladesh, as the military in Myanmar has raped, murdered, and abused many of them. Again, this is not just, this is a report from Yale Law School. And in an effort to stop the Rohingya from coming to Bangladesh, the Bangladeshi government actually stopped humanitarian aid from going to them, which ended up killing 12,000 refugees from starvation. And these are attempts as recent as 2010. Number 3 is forced labor. Many of the Rohingya, if they cannot pay a weekly fee, they're forced into manual labor, and if they refuse, they're beaten or killed. Number 4 is religious persecution. You have Muslims that are prohibited from repairing broken mosques, and unauthorized masajid are often destroyed. And 5, you have marriage restrictions and population control. And in the 1990s, a law was actually passed in the Rakhine State which required a marriage license to be attained for couples wishing to marry. But this law is enforced only with the Rohingya. Men have to shave their beards, women must remove their religious head coverings and face coverings if they want to get married. And not only that, many times the couple wishing to marry has to pay a bribe equal to 3 months of their salary. So those are just some of the things that are going on with the Rohingya currently. And we wanted to go about and make sure that we talk about them today in depth. And today, the guest that we have is Brother Khairul Alam, who is a friend of mine who happened to graduate from the University of Connecticut from UConn with a BA in psychology. He's worked as a mental health counselor for 4 years and currently works in the cybersecurity field and is a certified computer hacking forensic investigator. He is the youth director at the McLean Islamic Center in Northern Virginia. And in 2018, he founded a nonprofit called Mercy to Mankind, a organization established to help the homeless. And he is the author of numerous books, such as Inspiration for Countless Generations, and co-author of War Trauma in Veterans and Their Families. Khairul is also known as Dawalicious Brother on social media, which is an organization that he recently started. So I want to go ahead and welcome our dear brother Khairul Alam to the stage. Assalamu alaikum, Khairul. How are you doing?
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I was going to say, bro, stop right there. But then I realized it was me who gave you my bio. So
how are you doing? How's Ramadan going?
Jazakallah khair. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Ramadan is great, bro. Just another blessed time to do some good things for yourself and for others. And inshallah, turn back to Allah, man.
Inshallah. So yeah, tell us what's going on. What are you up to? What are you doing? I know one of the reasons we brought you on was because you actually went and you spent some time with our Rohingya brothers and sisters in Bangladesh a couple of years ago. So I wanted to ask you, like, how was that? Like, what are the experiences that you saw on the ground, and what can we do to continue to help?
Yeah, definitely, inshallah. So one of the things I want to start off with saying how upsetting it is because of the COVID situation, that I haven't actually been there for, let's say, what's been 2 years now, right? Yeah. And there was a plan of me going this past year, but obviously due to COVID, and we all know that the restrictions are just, next level. So, and for the safety of, my team and again, those who are there, we have some people there, inshallah, alhamdulillah. But, so we get to stay in contact, right? But the Rohingya work, subhanAllah, I've done many works with, let's say, when the Syrian civil war, started, we've done fundraisers. When I was back at UConn, brothers and sisters got together and we've done plenty of good things, right? But the difference between all the other aid work and this was that I'm originally from Bangladesh, right? And so when I realized how close, near and dear this thing is to me, and I realized how much I could actually do on the ground, that's when I thought, you know what, it can't just be a fundraiser. It can't just be a poem that, I share the situation about, but I have to go there. So 2018, I started this campaign called the 1 in a Million campaign, just in my room, just thinking, I was influenced mainly by Muhammad Hijab. I don't know if you guys know who he is or not, a Da'i in UK. Does great work, mashallah. So I reached out to him. I saw him go to Bangladesh. He actually went the first year he went, there was a monsoon. And so, we planned together, and then I went in 2018, alhamdulillah. So I went to it's a huge camp, right? We can't get into too much details, but, the camp that I specifically was at was the Kutupalong camp. Okay. And as the reports say, and you might get different reports, some say 860,000 people, when over a million. When you actually go there, I just want to tell you my first experience. When I walked into the camp.
What was the name of this camp you said?
Kutupalong. Okay. Mm-hmm. Kutupalong. All right. Kutupalong.
Yeah.
And so when I first, went into the camp, okay, I had aid workers by my side, right? And even though this is my country, I'm going back to my country, nothing is new, going in the flights, seeing how congested this country already is, right? You land in Dhaka airport and you already know the situation is different, but then it's like entering another space, another realm, right, within Bangladesh. And so when I first walked in, I'll never forget this sight. I saw kids everywhere, right? Mm-hmm. And the UN at first reported about 40,000 kids, right? Majority of them being, without parents, right? Majority of the people in the camp is kids and women, right? So, so as soon as I walked in, I looked to my left, kids. I looked to my right, there's kids. I looked on the hills, because it's a hilly area, right? Cox's Bazar, right? Southern east part of Bangladesh, and all you see is hills and whatnot. If you've ever been to and subhanallah, I don't know if you know this or not, but Cox's Bazar is the longest strip of the body of water in Asia, right? Possibly the whole world, maybe. So when you're actually going to the camp, it is a 40-kilometer, right? It's a I think 45-minute drive. It's a beautiful scene. It's an amazing scene, because anybody who does aid work there, they have to they have to be at the hotel, right? You get from 9 to 5. You got to be out there by 5 o'clock. Okay, you got to get there by 9, and you got to be out there by 5. Especially when I was there, and people who are doing independent work, they might get in trouble, right, if they stay beyond the time limit. So while you're going there, it's such a beautiful scene. Subhanallah. You look to your left, look to your right, there's water everywhere.
Yeah,
the
that
beach,
whole area is gorgeous. Like
it's amazing. People go. This is the site, right? I would say people in Bangladesh go to the tour. No, people from all around the world go there to tour Cox's Bazar. But then you go to the camp, right? And I asked the aid worker, I just have one simple question. Like, where do they put all these kids? Like, you say some of them don't have parents, a lot of them don't have parents, but I see all these kids walking around, some just chilling, relaxing, what do they do? So one of the aid workers said to me, Brother Khairul, every night these kids pick a random tent to just go stay in. And if in most of these tents probably have a parent or a mother or father who lost their own child, right? So they would stay in these tents for that night, and then the next day they'll just continue roaming around the camp, right? And then go to another tent. And this is how they spend their nights and their days, right? And if you would just see the amount of kids, subhanallah, that's I remember this, it's the first thing that I saw, right? And I went in there.
Are no longer alive, or?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of them, I've seen pictures of, I'll get to that later, some personal stories and whatnot. Last year, subhanAllah, I took my younger sister from BC. I took Brother Kaisar. Everybody knows him, right? Chaplain, Chaplain America, and I took a rabbi, a Jewish rabbi, and then we had a couple of other members. At one point, my sister says, I can't do this anymore. And that's because couple of the kids were bringing pictures of their deceased father or mother, and these 7-8-year-old kids are coming to us because sometimes that's the only time they can express themselves. Now my sister was like, yeah, but this could cause PTSD and whatnot. I said, listen, these kids have been through so much. Some of these kids can't even smile, right? Last time we went during Eid, and we played 26 games with them, 26 different activities, right? It was hard for certain kids to even put a smile on, because it's a true case of PTSD, right? When they're seeing your whole family go through that, not only your mother, father, your brother, your sister, and you're an 8-year-old roaming around the camp, it's a really difficult situation. So yeah, so a lot of them, they didn't have parents. They still don't have parents. And the situation is it's crazy. And one of the things, bro, because you mentioned what inspired me, and you mentioned this too, about the restrictions that the Myanmar government had on, it was clear to me, this is the first time where I realized, these people, after going there, they were literally resented for no other reason other than the belief in Allah that they had, right? And subhanallah, all the madrasas that are being built, the makeshift masajid, the huffaz, so many that I've met, right? There are so many great knowledgeable Rohingya imams there as well, right? I gave a khutbah once. I gave it in Bangla, and they translated it because a lot of them do understand Bangla. And then there was a man, 110-year-old man, and I actually asked the people around, I'm like, does he have the age right? Is he saying the truth? I just needed to know, because there are many people telling you things just for other selfish ulterior motives and whatnot, and they're like, no, yes, he's the oldest one in this camp,
and he grabbed at 110.
He was a refugee 110 plus, actually, right? Wow. And I was leaving the masjid, and he grabbed my hand. And he's now speaking in his language, and I understood about 70% of it. And someone else was translating, and he said, I'm just looking for a friend. And I said, tell me your story. And people were gathering around, right? And he said, listen, my son carried me on his back walked several miles. I don't know if you saw the site of the first year when the people were coming in, a lot of them were being turned back, but then, they were falling aboard. They were coming to the boats. They were walking mile after mile, right? This father, this 110-year-old man says, my son carried me on his back mile after mile, right? And as soon as we entered the camp, he passed away, right? I have nobody in my age. I have no friends, right? I'm too old to be here by myself. I'm just looking for a friend, subhanAllah. And, these stories are just amazing. But, the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, when your heart is getting hard, right?
Yeah.
Try to touch the head of the orphan and try to go feed the poor, right? And this was the difference between me working in other relief aid work as opposed to the Rohingya work, because I actually got to touch these kids. I actually got to, hug these kids. I actually, received so much love. But the worst part is that some of these kids know that you're going to be there for a week or two and then you're going to leave, right? And you're just there, maybe take a couple of pictures and give them some food and whatnot. And that's exactly what I didn't want to happen. So I still kept in touch with them. I try to go every other year if I can, and so alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Wow, that's so, that must have been something that you probably took home with you. How long were you there?
I was there for a week. There's restrictions, right? So with the 1 in a Million campaign, the best thing about this campaign was we got to work with whoever we wanted. I mean, legitimate, right? So we work with first year we work with Human Relief Foundation. Second year we work with Bidesh Foundation. And there's a lot of restrictions, bro. Just when you take in a team with you,
like from Bangladeshi government.
When we go from USA, right, there has to be like and there's a small team always, right? Because you're a liability. And a lot of people get upset. There's a list of people who wanted to come with me, whenever. And subhanAllah, the first year we made close to $50,000 without any actual fundraisers, right? It was probably just a khutbah. I have to give it up for the aunties and uncles in Connecticut. If you guys are listening to this, I'm talking to you guys. Jazakallah khair, barakallah feek. I remember aunties giving me like $10,000 straight up in cash, right? Like, we can't be there. We're with you in spirit in our donations, but we trust you, right? And this is one of the things that I wanted to do. I needed to take that money with me and be there at the campsite, because to tell you the honest, brutal truth, bro, there's a lot of things going on. It's oppression, dhulm ala dhulm, right? Yeah. The Rohingyas are already there because of oppression. And then you get oppression from the political side, and from aid workers, some from some internal stuff going on. You've already mentioned some of these things, but theft, human trafficking, employment opportunities, obviously, they're a huge problem that the government is dealing with, and that the innocent Rohingyas themselves are dealing with, right? From 2017 to 2019, they estimate, and maybe I'll have to check the numbers again because it's just mind-boggling. They estimate 91,000 kids have been born from 2017 to 2019. And so,
wow.
And so we will go in the camp. And so we'll go into the next issue that I think that we should discuss, is about the relocation before the repatriation of these Rohingyas, which is a controversial topic in and of itself. The Bangladeshi government is trying really hard to decongest these people, because it's not getting, 22 people to one toilet, 10 up to 10 family members within a 2 to 3 meter room that is made by plastic and bamboos. So, things are just really difficult. So if you were to ask me, maybe we'll get into this next. I don't know if you have anything to say or not, but if you were to ask me if I was a Rohingya, what would I be most worried about right now? We could talk about that if you.
Yeah, no, go for it.
So, people ask, what's the situation on the ground? Let's be honest, right? Things haven't changed. Things are just they're getting worse. Okay, with COVID, you see some of these the camps, when you enter the tents, you'll see
that probably completely threw everything off with COVID and getting vaccinated and all that.
We sent COVID packets last year via Bidesh Foundation and some other groups that we're working with, and they had all these sanitary things going on. But let's be honest, bro. You have masks in certain camp like these shelters. You have masks hanging on the floor and whatnot. How are you gonna do social distancing? 26 kilometers of space with 860,000 plus. it's not possible. It just, it's not possible. How have we felt, right? This past year in quarantine. Just think about it for a second. It's 2017 to now, right? These Rohingya refugees have been quarantined for a while now. They can't leave that border. They can't go into the beautiful beach that you and I were talking about in the beginning of this. They can't see anything. They try to, in the beginning, they try to escape via cars and all these other things, but they can't, so they're exploited to the next level, man. So thing I wanted to speak about was the relocation.
Here, this is the Kutupalong refugee camp that I just pulled up.
Yeah,
like you said, world are they supposed to, have any sort of distance whatsoever?
Just think about, subhanallah, man, just looking at this picture. And then there are some sites where you can go on top of a hill. I remember I was getting prepared for Asr, and then, I couldn't make wudu because where they had the tube, well, it was too deep below. And so one of the refugees got me some water, subhanallah, like, and you could see this site in certain areas. You yourself could see this site, like a topographical, a viewpoint, and it's just amazing, man. It's just crazy, subhanallah. And so coming back to the point of the government trying to decongest, that's what they're saying, right? They're trying to, because despite the aid that the government has given, and alhamdulillah, right? We want to say alhamdulillah for that, okay? There's criticism, but then you got to give credit where it's due, that the infrastructure is stretched to the limit. Like, it's just stretched to the limit. So it makes sense that, a place like Bangladesh in a hilly area where there's cyclones and all these other things going on, they're worried about landslides, right? I was at I went to the first day, after the janazah, I walked into a janazah, right? And after that, I was in the area where elephants would just like destroy everything.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to worry about elephants too, as if the problem wasn't already, great. So they stretched the infrastructure stretched to the limit. So the most important thing that I think that the Rohingyas are facing now, right? And of course, I can't speak on behalf of all of them, but I think there's some really, really next level cognitive dissonance going in their minds right now. I'm going to talk about this relocation place, right? This Bashanchar island, right? Which is approximately 123 kilometers away from Cox's Bazar, right? But do I stay here with the people who I've already formed a relationship with? And, even though I'm not safe, I still feel kind of safe, or do I move? Do I leave? Nothing is guaranteed. Yeah, the government is saying this place is better. It's you get to freely roam around, right? There's 40 kilometers of space. These are cluster homes that are built with bricks instead of what you have here. Do I go with the 1/10 of the population that the government is trying to bring to the island, which is about 100K? Or do I stay here, keep my children here and then just, wait until the repatriation, right? So a lot of them are feeling this, this sense of anxiety, right? And so what Bangladesh has been doing, if we want to, I don't know if you can stop me, bro, if I'm going too deep into it.
No, you're good. You're good.
I get a little too excited in talking about these things.
This is exactly what we wanted. Yeah, so this is good.
Okay, all right, cool. So Bashanchar Island is approximately 120 something kilometers away from Cox's Bazar, okay? And you got to take a ship there. And they have these huge ships, and these are all military Navy based. These are all facilities made by the Navy, and this has been in the works ever since I was there, 2 years back. Yeah. And so these pretty much they made cluster homes, okay, with bricks. And it's controversial, right? Let me just get to the controversial, because this is a temporary relief facility. They want to facilitate them until the repatriation, right? So they know it's temporary, right? They're not building anything that is going to, like in the camp itself, the Kutupalong camp, you're not going to build anything with bricks. You're not going to build anything that is long term, right? Because you never know what's going to happen. So, The controversy is that one side is saying that, you know, they're just sending all these people to be more isolated, right, into an island. I mean, think about Bangladesh already, that it gets hit by monsoons left and right, and now you're sending them to an island so they could just be washed away. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so the other side says, listen, if we really cannot keep a million people here, right? There's a chance of epidemic, which alhamdulillah, other types of epidemics and whatnot. And you know, again, we talked about the landslides, over congestion, and all these children being born and whatnot, right? The Bangladesh just doesn't have the capacity to do that. You know, the government claims that look around. Exactly. This is yeah. So look at, bro.
I mean, it looks like a glorified concentration camp.
Bro, so one of my things is that inshallah next time if I could go there, I want to actually go for myself. I want to be on the ground, right? But to tell you the truth, it's paradise compared to the camp for some people, right? And because I told you about the bathroom situation, the homes are built like 14 feet above ground, the shelters, right? There's about, I think there, if I'm not mistaken, maybe you can look this up or not, but the island itself is surrounded by 9 feet high flood defense embankments for floods, right?
So, I mean, overall, the refugees that are settling here, are they generally like happy here, or
so far from what I've heard is that again, like, this is from what you hear, right? Like they are happier. They can, you know why? I'll tell you. I'll give you certain points, right? Why? And then we can, because we really, bro, you know, they're still refugees, bro. You're never gonna be happy unless you go back home.
right?
I live in Virginia. I miss my parents all the time. You know, I they live in Connecticut, right? And if I can't go back home at least once a month, everybody knows that about me, okay? And so just think about these. You know, can you truly be happy, bro? Can you, like, if you don't go back to your own place, right? So what they truly want, from what I've heard, from my experience, what they truly want is for the international community to put pressure on the Myanmar government, right? So they can go back to their home with safety and security. That's what they truly want. Everything else is just assumptions from our part, okay?
Yeah.
So pretty much these ships take about 320 refugees, you know, at a time, right? When you go there, you'll see the island surrounded by 9 feet high flood defense embankments, okay? As soon as you go there, you'll see these, like you said, it looks like a concentration camp. But for them, right, when you enter these rooms, they're more spacious, right? They're like 4 feet above the ground. So if there is floods and whatnot, which is a problem, right? You've heard about the fires, right? That recently happened in the camp. I know people.
I don't know.
So there's been a huge fire in the camp recently, about 2 weeks ago or something like that. But these fires constantly happen. They're from the gas. Some say they're from the gas cylinders that is used in the homes, right? And you know, the fire just it just burns things quicker. Okay, you're living in bamboo structures, right? Plastic, and so you have these issues and whatnot. So when the refugees go there and they see poultry, so they have poultry, they have sheep and buffalo farming, they have kitchen gardening, they have livestock, they set their own football team up, Rohingya football team, subhanallah, like right? Yeah, soccer. Sorry, soccer. Yeah, I forgot, we're Americans. So they have 220-bed hospitals there, two facilities and it's just they got the island has about 3 warehouses, like 70 feet 30 feet high, 200 feet long, 70 feet wide, where they can store food for months. So pretty much, bro, and I was told this when I went to the camp at first, because, and I can't explain this, but when you go to the Kutupalong camp, certain areas are actually paradise compared to other areas. Mm-hmm. You'll see kids holding on to tickets the whole day in line to grab their food. If for any reason the food the supplies are short, they have to go back to their tent. When you're going back to your tent with this ticket, and if there's other people watching you and looking at you, if there are other kids, you're going to fight for that ticket. You might never get the bag of food or whatever you're supposed to get. Okay.
So why are certain parts more paradise and other parts aren't?
So this is the thing. I can only talk about certain parts because I've only been to certain parts. There's parts where, let's be honest, right? You're human beings. Okay. You're going through all these things. There's familial problems. There's problems within, there's internal problems within the Rohingyas. Certain refugees were telling me, don't go over there because they got weapons or whatever they're talking about. They make weapons for their own safety. So if you make the wrong move, and I got to tell my teammates to not, to be careful, be very vigilant, right? Who you talk to. And you just gotta go there with just keeping these things in mind, right? And so one person told me, like, this compared to, because we went for Eid and we were playing with the kids and they had these makeshift carousels and all these great things. But in other parts of the camp, you can't do that just because of the structure of where they are, because of the population in certain camps and just other factors and whatnot. So, but then you have this new place. Okay, this is definitely paradise compared to what they're living in, bro. Right.
Yeah.
So Bangladesh government is planning to send 1/10 of the population of the Rohingya population, which is in Bangladesh right now, which is 100K. I think they got about 3,000 already right now. For those who are there, they say good things about it. Those who are left in camp, they're still worried. Some say, I don't want to go. I don't want to leave. Some say that,
is this in Bhasanchar or is this in the
Bhasanchar Island? The people are saying good things about this, right?
Okay.
They're saying it's well organized. They got solar panels. They for sustainability and what, even though this is not a long-term thing, right? Only Allah knows. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to send our brothers and sisters back home safe and sound, because no matter what type of cushions you give them, no matter how much band-aids, relief work, subhanAllah, if you really think about it. And there's one thing I wanted to mention, that we have to actually do advocacy work as well with the relief work. Do not belittle relief work. Do not belittle anybody's relief work, but also look into advocacy work, right? Look into speaking to your local. Just spread the word, and we'll. I know you're gonna ask about how we can help out, right? But it's not about just putting a band-aid, giving them a pack of food and that's it, calling it a day, right? We got to really be empathetic and make like policy changes and whatnot, so alhamdulillah, bro.
Sounds good. So with that, let's go ahead and take a break, and we'll see a small video from Beit al-Mal, and we will be back with Brother Khairul Alam in just a second.
Every year around the world, natural disasters, civil unrest, extreme poverty, and deadly diseases drive people from their homes, turn families' lives upside down, and keep communities struggling. For many, all that is left is hope. Hope that the water they drink won't make them sick. Hope that they have enough food to survive another day. Hope that they have a safe place to stay and rest their head tonight. Hope that help will come and that someone, somewhere, cares. You are their hope. And together, we are their family. Join us as we respond to emergencies with life-saving food, water, medicine, hygiene, and shelter. Sustain families with meals, water wells, sanitation, and healthcare. And empower communities to thrive with life-enriching programs to rise above poverty and improve their lives. We deliver hope to people in need around the world. Turn your compassion into hope.
All right, we are back with Brother Khairul Alam. For those of you that just saw, you got a chance to see some of the glimpse, or you got a chance to glimpse into some of the work that Beit al-Mal is doing. I also wanted to show you all this. Beit al-Mal has also been pretty involved when it came to the Rohingya crisis starting in roughly 2018. They've sent about $210,000 in aid, about 600,000 meals, 3,000 they've sent for shelters, and about 15,000 Rohingyas, refugees, have received winter clothing and blankets. It's not a lot, right? But that's why we're doing these programs, so that we can, inshallah, get, for those of you watching, to donate and to support programs like Beit al-Mal, who are involved in relief work all throughout the world, inshallah. So we're going to go back and speak to Brother Khairul Alam. We have a few more minutes left. But Khairul, let me get back into our conversation about the Rohingya. I know right now you had mentioned, your own experiences and the background with our Rohingya brothers and sisters. But as people who are sitting on this side of the world in a first world country, what can we do, right? Like I was talking to Dr. Shireen Al-Ademi a couple of days ago last week, and we had spoken about this aspect of how you have people donating for Yemen, for example, but there's an embargo, the borders are shut, so it's very tough for food to get in and out. I don't think that's the case with the Rohingya, if I'm correct, right? And then number two, it's like, how can, again, we continue to help them?
Sure, bro. Great question. Bismillah. So I want to start off with what you shouldn't do, right? And don't mind me saying this, but because I've experienced some things myself, right? And subhanallah, when I was first starting this, the 1 in a million campaign, my family was on board, my friends and whatnot, but I did get some pushback from some people that I didn't think I would. But that's the case, right? When you do good, subhanallah, so people were saying at that point, like, the more you help the Rohingyas, the more they'll get situated in Bangladesh and they don't want to leave. The more you help, I would have people whisper into my ears, like, you sure you want to go, bro? I'd have community uncles and aunties saying, the opposite of what I wanted to hear before going on a trip where, subhanallah, you may not come back, right? Let's just be honest, right? When you do these type of works, you got to realize people who go, whether it's part-time, whether that's what they do, there's just a high possibility of something happening to them, right? Because it's like, going to, I don't want to say like this, but you go into the hood, right? And you're not ready for it. If you're not ready for it, then just expect the worst, right? But I want to say what you shouldn't do before what you should do, okay? Don't discourage anybody who is doing any type of relief work. And this is in general, right? If you can't say something good, obviously, right? We know the hadith, right? And I know we take this hadith sometimes as negatively, which means to just keep your mouth shut. We should also think about what the Prophet, peace be upon him, maybe means is that don't keep your mouth shut. Maybe say something positive, right? When you do speak, say something positive. Most of us take it as, let's not say anything at all, right? So what I'm trying to say is, number one, don't say anything negative, okay, to people who are working, or don't do anything that is discouraging, because, bro, I've seen a lot of young kids with, that are zealous of helping out. And because, we're in a culture of just talk, right? And raise funds and really not do anything else after that. Post, and then share my selfies with the, or with the refugee kids and whatnot. And after that, we're good. I did my job. Don't discourage young folks or anybody who's trying to do any type of relief work, number one. So don't do that, right?
Are you
number
saying
two,
that the selfie culture is the relief work?
I'm saying that sometimes people get discouraged, right? By other folks, okay? And there are certain folks who get into this game, or whatever they want to call this, right? Just for the show of it. Once they're done with their work, they will actually discourage other people to do long-term work, right? So subhanallah, I spoke about dhulm upon dhulm, right? You might go to the camp and you might see things from aid workers that will totally demoralize you, right? So this is no joke, right? And this is something serious. So when someone is truly, they have their heart into helping other folks, right? And that they're not doing it just for the show and tell and whatnot, then please don't discourage them. That's number one, right? So let's not do damage. If we can't do any good, let's not do damage. I want to start with that, right? There's people who laughed in my face when I was, they would say, going for, in certain parts of Bangladesh, Rohingya, the word Rohingya is like a negative pejorative word, which is so disrespectful, right? Which is it's utter dishonor of people, in Allah's creation, right? Because of the situation they're in. How dare they have the audacity, just because they use the word Rohingya as some type of negative thing, right? They call each other by names. They say, you Rohingya, you this, so just check yourself, right? And so don't do damage. Number two is that, how can you give assistance? How can you give aid, right? Besides the monetary, besides you actually giving, right? Besides you knowing that even a dollar will help. Trust me, when you open up your closet today, when you open up your fridge today, know that you have more than an entire camp. Know that when you're looking at your closet and all the clothes and whatnot, it is enough to clothe the people in the camp, or at least a part of the camp, for months on end. When you open your freezer, know that it's enough that many families could go months with that type of food, right? So what I want to say is that generally, I I would suggest people get out there, because when you go out there, like in a local level, like we do community, like we feed the homeless, right? Every Saturday in Woodbridge, Virginia, we go out there. There's veterans there. There's people that you wouldn't even imagine that come out for food, right? When you see them, when you get attached to people in real life and reality, then you can actually think next level. You can think international, right? So keep in touch with local aid work, okay? Local relief work, all right? Number 2 is educate, all right? So by sharing this, alhamdulillah, maybe some of you guys have done what Allah has destined for you to do, right? Maybe just by sharing this and getting the information across to people, right? We do, again, brother Nihal, I don't know if you know or not, like we're in this dilemma of when we raise our hands up to Allah, right? We have this whole argument about action with dua. You definitely need all intentions are by their actions and whatnot, right? But we tend to literally underestimate the duas. Like a dua can change the situation. If it can change qadr, it can change the situation. So raise your hands up, right? And supplement to that, do something every day that will change the situation on a practical level, right? But on a metaphysical level, when you see a pamphlet, this is what I suggest people to do. When the next Rohingya pamphlet you see, don't you dare say that, oh, this is like my sister or my brother. What if this happened to my sister and brother? I want you to tell yourself these are your brothers and sisters. If that doesn't work, I want you to mentally crop out your brothers or your 6-year-old sister's picture and put it on that pamphlet and actually let it spear your heart, let it go through your heart, and actually feel that this could be, because bro, when you go to the camp, bro, there's so many beautiful people who are just normal people who are just like your brothers and sisters, and they're not numbers, right? You can't treat them as numbers, but they are. They will die as numbers. They will live this life as a number, right? But only when you go, only when you attach yourself, only when you, let's say monthly, I want to give for this person. I'm in America, but I know this money is going there, $1 a day, whatever it is, So I got this person under my wing, all right? And it's only $1 a day, but I'll let go of some candies or sweets or coffee or whatnot, So share this, go out there and help, spread the information, be empathetic. My Latin teacher taught me what empathy is, when I was in 8th grade. He said, sympathy is when you say, I love you. Empathy is when you actually give that glass of water to your parent, And so when you actually show it, right? So donate, right? Get out and engage in the small efforts to keep in touch with this whole aid work scene, inshallah.
Yeah, I just opened up these pictures. It was just, I think this is on Getty Images, right? They take professional photographs, just put in Rohingya. Yeah, this will show you the situation of the people that are there.
Yep, absolutely.
Look at these makeshift boats.
It's look at the amount of, subhanallah,
look at all these people.
And so, bro, when I went last time, it was the day of Arafat, where it was a tough day, subhanAllah. All the team members were fasting. Even the rabbi, I believe, he wanted to fast with us and whatnot. And then we couldn't play on the day of Eid. We couldn't enjoy, so we did it on that day, the day before Eid. And the kids were just so happy, man. We had this biscuit challenge. We had a soccer tournament. And it was just so, we had the nasheeds on, and it was just so amazing, right? Just bring back some life to these kids, right? Because they have so much potential, bro. So yeah, man, just subhanallah.
Yeah.
I think I said
Well,
enough.
I think you covered a lot, mashallah, and I think if this interview is not something which incites you to give back to the Rohingya, I don't know what will, because I think you've provided some really really helpful insights. Do you have any closing remarks? I think we can inshallah end off a little bit early, and we can kind of give you the mic.
Inshallah. No, Jazakallah khair, Baitul Mal. I appreciate your work. I really do hope people have this sense of connection with you guys where it's a long-term connection, right? It's not just about, sometimes it's not just about the monetary, right? Donations, right? However they could help you guys out. I wish good for you guys. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to spread this message far and wide with all the mistakes that's been made in this interview, with all of our flaws and faults. And we can never actually put into words what the Rohingyas are facing. So sometimes we just got to go and see, because words will never do justice, right? And so I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make a way for people who, there are people who find this life boring, bro. SubhanAllah. They have nothing to do. When you realize people are dying out of starvation, hunger, thirst, and the whole thing about why do we fast? Some people say because so we can feel the pain of and the hunger of the poor, and then the counter argument to that is, but the poor also have to fast as well. So it's actually la'allakum tattaqun. So the general meaning is so you build. It could be both. You could build your taqwa, and you could feel the pangs of hunger and pain, right? And you can realize that this is not my default. And this is the default of the refugees. This is the default of a lot of people in the world. So let me be thankful. Let me give shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let me put down a plan on how I could, for the rest of my life, right, attach with organizations like Baitul Mal or other organizations. And, Allah has made it so easy for us to do a good deed. And sometimes we could even forget about it. And it's still racking up points for us, right? So ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make, you guys a means by which and through which other people are positively affected, not only the Rohingya refugees, the Uyghur, all the other brothers and sisters who've been forgotten in Syria, our brothers and sisters who are in our backyard, who are homeless, who have nothing to eat. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to aid them, because there's no other aid except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are just tools and a means by which Allah uses us to do His work. Wa jazakallah khair, barakallah feek, wa salamun alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
And for those of you that would like to know more about Brother Khairul Alam, I invite you all to check out website Dawalicious, and it's a service for Muslim youth coaching, for young kids, career coaching for young people. Basically, as I had mentioned, Brother Khairul is a youth director at McLean Islamic Center in Virginia, so definitely check him out. Khairul, if somebody wants to get in touch with you or follow you, where can they go to do that?
They can bother you, and you can direct them to me. No, so inshallah, go to that website, inshallah. You can send an email to dawalicious@gmail.com. If they ever need my number, again, they can just come to you. If they want to talk to me, if they want to reach out, Khairul Alam, mostly on Facebook nowadays. Don't do Instagram or any of that. I can't keep up with that. But just inshallah, just look into the Dawalicious stuff and just reach out if you need to.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We're going to go ahead and end the stream. Continue to follow Brother Khairul and continue to donate to Baitul Mal, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.